guys, it's Kasha. Welcome to the channel, to my wonderland. It is a coffee time, so grab your mugs because I have for you guys. Are you ready for it? My very first booktube book haul. Here is what happened. These are all the books that I got lately, and there is a total of 14 books that I'm gonna show you in this video. Also, I might have gone a little bit crazy ordering books in Amazon because I got a couple of vouchers. So then you go to Amazon and you start looking through everything because you want to use those vouchers, and then you end up ordering a ton shit of books. Does it sound familiar? Do you have also this sickness? Let me know down below. And now the neighbors have to start drilling on the walls. Why do the neighbors always drill on the walls when you're trying to make a video? But why though? I also live with 2 cats, 2 birds, and not too far away from an airport. Also, they're currently doing renovations on my building, on the outside part. Plus, they're also doing some construction work on the street. So this is like the impossible video. Let's start with the 14 books that I picked up. The first one is the only graphic novel that I have to show you, and that is Wires on Nerve by Marissa Meyer. The Lunar Chronicles is one of my favorite of all times YA series. If you have not read it and you like to combine science fiction with regular fairy tales, I totally recommend it to you. I got this graphic novel, I read it the same day in one go. Totally binge read this, and I'm super happy that they decided to do this graphic novel because it is awesome. There is also a part 2 of this graphic novel, and after that there is no more Lunar Chronicle books. That makes me sad. That being said, I love this. It is an easy read. If you love the Lunar Chronicles, you're going to love this because it is based on the characters from the book. Plus, you get to see them in pictures and you get to revisit their stories and their personalities. I don't want to tell you too much about this because basically it takes off after the events of the last book on the series, so I will be totally spoiling you. What I can tell you is that it is based on the character of Echo, and she's an android that we already got to know in the first book of the series called Cinder. The next book is The Light Tree by Frances Hardinge, and this is the illustrated edition by Chris Riddle. When I saw this special edition, to be honest, I didn't know what this book was really about. It is one of those books, you see the cover, you know you're gonna love it. You don't know what it's about, but you know you're gonna love it, and you know you're gonna buy it. So that's what I did. I bought it. I still have not read it yet, but I love the story. We follow the story of a little girl called Faith, and she loves science and she loves secrets. One day she finds old journals from her dad, and surprise, surprise, she finds a lot of awesome stuff in those journals, including the light tree. The light tree works like this. You tell the tree a lie, and it tells you the truth back. Next we have Cold Case by Amy Garvey. And obviously I love this cover, and it's one of the reasons why I picked it up. The other reason being that it has to do with the undead. And the story kind of reminded me to Pet Sematary by Stephen King. So I'm guessing this is going to be the decaf version with like some YA romance. We follow the story of a teenager named Ren, and she feels lonely and she feels like very sad because Danny died, and she decides she's just gonna bring him back. So she does. She brings him back from the dead, but he's only a shell of what he used to be. He's not the same. So this is why I say it kind of reminds me to Pet Sematary by Stephen King. In case you have not read the book, it is based on an Indian old cemetery where when you bury something there it comes back to life, but evil, because it's Stephen King. So this kind of gives me a little bit that vibe, but it's probably going to be like a cutesy YA romance kind of undead story, so I'm really excited to read it. Next we have Made for You by Melissa Marr, another cover that called me, but also the story sounded very intriguing. This is the story of Eva, and she wakes up in a hospital. She wakes up there after being in an accident, but she doesn't really remember what happened. The only thing she knows is that after she woke up, she has a new skill. When somebody touches her, she knows how they're gonna die. So I love it because it is based on a hospital and it has to do with the supernatural, and I love that combination. Next we have We Are Here by Michael Marshall. I think this is an adult thriller, and it is basically a guy that is very paranoid that people are following him. He sees strangers everywhere and he thinks that they're stalking him. So a couple of his friends are trying to help him figure it out what is going on. Most of the thrillers that I read are kind of predictable, so I don't always really enjoy all of them. So I'm really hoping that this one is going to be a good one. The next one is The Way Back from Broken by Amy J. Kaser. I picked this one up because it was a little bit different from what I normally read. It's based on the story of a kid which is not really having a fun time. His babysitter died in his arms, not cool. Then his parents divorced, great. He's been sent to some sort of camp where it's supposed to be like a support group or something like that. I'm not really sure. That's what I know about the story. I don't know too much more, but it was enough for me to make it interesting enough to pick it up. Next I have a book that I don't know how I missed this one. That is A Darkened by Kirsten White. I love vampires and I love everything that has to do with Vlad the Impaler, so I don't know how I missed this book. I've heard this is a retelling of the story of Vlad the Impaler, but in this case Vlad is a girl. So when I heard that I was like, say no more, send it my way. So I have it now so I can finally read it. It is the first book actually in a trilogy, and the third book is already coming out this year. If you guys have already read this book, let me know down below if it's any good. Please no spoilers. The next book is Stray by Elisa Sussman. I picked this one up because it was on sale on Amazon and the cover was great, and it is a kind of a fairy tale retelling, and I love those kind of books. I'm a sucker for fairy tale retellings. I love this one because it is a princess that, you know, she's all excited about the introducing ball, dancing with boys, finding the love of her life, and having a happily ever after. But no, when she goes to the dance, her powers get out of control. That's basically how the book starts and all I know about it, and reason enough for me to pick it up. Next we have Queen's Rising by Rebecca Ross. This is another book that I found really cheap on Amazon, and the cover totally spoke to me, and I was like, why not? This is fantasy, let's get it. It has this beautiful map. It also has a list of the houses and the family trees. We follow the story of a 16-year-old girl in the kingdom of Valenia, and the people that are in this kingdom, they develop something called passions. So they develop a talent for one of these, which could be like arts or knowledge or music. And our main character still doesn't know, she hasn't figured out which one is her passion. So she gets a little bit stressed because the point is when you are talented in one of these passions, you get a Patreon. So she just decides to pick up knowledge, but the problem is because she developed this so late that she has no Patreon. So this is where we take off, and it sounds like an interesting fantasy novel. Let me know down below if you read it and if you liked it. Next we have When We Wake by Karen Haley. We follow the life of a 16-year-old girl in 2027. She's having the best day of her life, she's living it, but then she died. Bummer. So she wakes up 100 years later and she is trapped in a government facility. She's incarcerated and she doesn't know why. If that is not intriguing, I don't know. The next book is a book that I saw everybody hauling last year, and that is Rebel Belle by Rachel Hawkins. Everybody was talking about this book, and it is actually the first book in a trilogy. I found it in a secondhand store, very cheap, and it was a nice hardcover, so I picked it up. It is the story of Harper Price, and she's this typical girl that is already destined to be the queen on the homecoming ball. But then she goes there, and I believe she gets some kind of weird powers, and she doesn't know what to do with them. I think that's where we take off. I didn't want to read too much about it because I want to be surprised by this. This would not have been a first choice for me. I do want to expand to other territories and books I probably would not have picked up first. So when I saw it, I was like, you know what, you get it, you read it, we'll see how it goes. If I like it, I'll pick up the other two books. Next we have Wicked Girls by Stephanie Hemphill. I picked this one up obviously because it is based on the Salem witch trials. I love books about witches. I also love the format of this book because it is written in verse, as you can see here. And I also love the fact that it is told by the perspective of 3 different young women that were actually living in Salem in 1692. So I'm really excited to read this one because it's a little bit different and it is about witches, and I just can't wait. The last 2 books in this haul, yes my friends, we got to the end. Those are Paper Towns and Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. Before everybody loses it, I'm gonna make a statement. I've never read a John Green book before. Let me know when you're done hating me. So I did pick up in the past The Fault in Our Stars, and I really meant to read it, but then it ended up on my shelves and I never read it. And then I found Paper Towns in a secondhand bookstore for cheap, and I picked it up. And then I heard so many good things about Turtles All the Way Down that I couldn't resist to pick up a copy, especially after Hannah from A Clockwork Reader, that I really love, talked about this book and how much she loved it. So here we are. So now I need your help. Which one of the 3 should I read first? We have The Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towns, and Turtles All the Way Down. Let me know down below which one I should start with. Alright, you guys, so these are the 14 books that I got. I hope that you enjoyed, and let me know down below what you thought about the books. Please give this video a thumbs up for support and subscribe to the channel. To follow me on all the social media, the links are down below. And I hope to see you guys in the next coffee time. Bye! And here's my baby, here's my cat Blakey. He says bye-bye, see you next time. He's not very amused. No? No? Bye, see you next time. No? Okay.